Hello and welcome to the What's the Crack Irish Bodybuilding Podcast with your host, Neil Rennie. We've been rolling these out. So obviously you can see on my YouTube channel, loads of content from Conor McGee's and myself's new podcast, the weekly vlog. And then we're back with What's the Crack. And I've been this real good guest on here, like genuinely very, very good person. And to me, probably one of the ones to watch out for in the next year as an athlete. And I think making her way towards that NPC Pro card. So Denise Malone, I really appreciate you coming on today. Sunday morning too. So
Hello. Thanks for having me. No, absolutely buzzing to be invited on. Look, I love this podcast. It's savage crack listening to it. You'd have some really, really good guys on it. So it's an absolute honor to be on it. So thank you very much. Yeah, not interrupting my Sunday at all. Coffee's gone in, kids are quiet, so let's do it.
perfect setup today then. So like really like what I like to do with everybody is kind of give everybody a little bit of an intro as to like where you're currently at, who you are, like get to know you as an athlete and as a person. So like, you're pretty much in the midst of your first like fucking first unbelievably successful season that I'm not even sure that you probably seen coming, Denise.
No, it's just it still hasn't fully hit me. I suppose we kind of decided about 2 years back to kind of really go ham at this and be competitive. And I think last March we were at a point where we were like, will we compete? Will we not? And I could have hopped on stage, but I'm probably one of the most stubborn people you'll ever meet, and I always have a point to prove. And I wanted to be competitive when I stepped on stage instead of kind of, dipping my toe in and out. So we left it for another year of just growing. And PCA was the first show there in September. And it was supposed to be kind of like our warm up for the main event, which is MPC type thing. But we went on, we won the class and won the overall. And honestly, I didn't have time to like kind of to sit up from it and take it all in because it was literally PCA 1 week, muscle contest was the next week, and then the Amateur Olympia Milan was the week after. So it was 3 weeks back to back peak, and I thought I was going to die, but it was so crazy. It was like as soon as the show was over, I was amazed I'd won the class, amazed I'd won the overall. It was such a good experience, but like straight away the next day, it was like, right, peak week again, and it's back to business.
I think there's like obviously from my experience of it, like there's positives in that in the fact that it's like you don't have time to think. You're going,
Yeah,
but that's a negative too. I will say I'll touch on that. But the positive of going right, we're back in business. You know your weight. We know we're looking to come down to. We know how to improve the look because you've had them peaks. But at the same time, especially as a first time competitor, like it's like at that level as well, you don't have time to really like just take it in and go, wow, be a bit more present in it.
yeah,
That's the downside, the icing of it, which kind of unfolds itself post show. But you need to
yeah.
take something me and Ross had talked about, Corey, is like you never took the time to go, holy shit, I just got my pro card. Do you know?
No, I had no time to kind of take it in, and you'll kind of see if, like, anyone that would have been following me on Instagram, PCA, there was tons of photos. I was like documenting every part of it because I was like buzzing for it. And then it was like for muscle contest, there was less. For Milan, there was less because mentally I was actually just running out of steam bit by bit. But I was feeling great. It's just I was so kind of a dog with a bone that I just couldn't take of anything else. So like social media kind of dropped a little bit, everything kind of dropped, and it was just going from one. So we came in really hard into PCA because we knew that's what PCA wanted. And then we knew Muscle Contest obviously wanted its MPC, so they want that little bit more of a fuller look. They don't want it to be as, gnarly shredded as PCA. So we started to kind of soften up for that. But then we also knew that the girls that I was going to be competing against were very PCA background. So we knew they'd be coming with the condition because, yes, I did have the mass, but if I came on with just pure mass and not the condition that the PCA kind of background would have had, I would have stood out like a sore thumb. So we found a little bit of a balance, brought the condition back in, and we went for muscle contest and won the class and won the overall as well. And it was like 2 out of 2. And I'm like, this is a rookie season. What the hell's going on? Like, this isn't supposed to go this way. But no, it was unreal. Like everyone, every athlete that I've stood on stage with have been so nice. All the bodybuilding community, like they're so supportive. The amount of people that are in my DMs that I've never met in my life, but just acknowledge that you're now a competitor and you're now kind of on their level. And it's like the friendships you build from it is just unreal. Like there's very little bitterness. You know, even the girls that I would have beaten on stage, we still chat. Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of it's so rewarding that way. And I suppose Milan then was just, let's say it was an eye opener. I placed third. It was a really, really, really stacked class. Now there was 9 girls. They had merged class C and D together, so there was tall girls in with the shorter girls and whatnot. But it was the first time that I'd stepped on stage where I didn't feel big. So
Right.
like when I stood on PCA, I felt big. I felt like I have the mass. And same with muscle contest, felt big. I stood on that stage in Milan and I was like, there was a shoulder here and a shoulder here. And I was like, oh shit. But like I felt small. And at the same time as being kind of a little intimidated, kind of, you know, you're trying to take up stage space and it's very hard when you've got bigger people beside you. But at the same time, I was like, this means I get to grow. You know, this means I don't have to kind of try and fit into that smaller box where it's Ireland is a brilliant country for bodybuilding, but we are a very, very small country in the grand scheme of things. And when you go onto the international stages, you really see the levels there are to this game. Like the Jesus, there's girls like in wellness and they've backs like some of the physique girls. It's just crazy. And like their hair's covering it. They don't need it, but they just have it. Like, I want that.
It's like it definitely like that show, the Milan show that you picked to do. Like it's one of the harder, one of the bigger shows. But like I would say, like to anybody listening, again, I'm not at that level, but anybody like that's wanting to like that sees themselves towards that level, like go and actually travel, like get yourself as much as this is what this is for. I'm an advocate for Irish bodybuilding. In order to raise that standard, you need to go out and see what that standard is across like Europe, even the UK mainland as well.
Yeah.
Like, for yourself there, obviously it's an eye opener, but it's not a million miles off either. Like for a first season, and even beyond
Yeah.
the age we talked about earlier, like I seen them mention you, I was like, holy shit, like this is class. We're getting an Irish athlete mentioned and like the one to watch really coming out of this.
Yeah. Like it's just, it's been a little overwhelming. It's been so, so humbling. Like I've had coaches that would have worked with Olympians. I've had coaches that have, 50, 60 pro wellness girls they've created, and they're reaching out to me asking to collaborate. And like I'd never go and step away from Stephen because this is us, like this is what we're doing. But to be recognized by coaches of that level is really humbling. It's really makes me feel kind of, oh shit, this is actually really happening. But I would definitely say, like, if anyone is doing shows, like, that was always kind of the thing is we were going to keep doing Irish shows unless we won. Like, so if we weren't winning the Irish shows, there was no point in going international. So it was just kind of because we had won the PCA, it was like, right, definitely go in for Milan. So, like, it was kind of, it's like earning your stripes, I suppose. Like you want to compete and you want to place and you want to do well in your own country before you start kind of, jumping ship and going off to the other countries. Like it is Ireland, it is a small country. We do want to have as many budding bodybuilders as we can get in this country. And if everyone's just, oh, I placed fourth, but I got my cert and now I'm hopping off to a different country, you're not competitive before you even leave the country.
You have to, as you say, like earning your stripes is a big one. Like there's usually a ladder in bodybuilding. Like some
Yeah,
people step it a little bit quicker, others you have to just keep fighting that. And here, I think it's important to know, like, you don't want to be placing limitations on yourself either, but you need to sort of be real with yourself and go, this is where I'm at. For myself, it's like, right, get to the PCA, win a PCA class. And for a lot of people, that is trajectory. Can you win a PCA overall? Can you dip your toe in the NPC? Whether yourself, obviously, it was like probably going, can I win my PCA class? But that
yeah,
was just like, oh shit, I won the overall, won the overall
yeah,
NPC. Of course, you're going to go to that next level because as
yeah.
bodybuilders, as athletes, as whatever you are, you're always trying to continue to get better and grow. Like that's what this sport really puts into you.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I would still love to do loads more Irish shows. It's just like the British finals didn't I got invited to that. Obviously that we're going to Egypt in 7 days or something like that for a family holiday because to kind of give back. It's like I have kids, I need to reconnect as a family because as you know yourself, prep pulls you away from your loved ones. It does isolate you that little bit as much as you have support from everyone. You don't mentally have enough time for especially me, you don't mentally have enough time for my kids, for, family, friends. Like you very much fall into your routine and you stay in it. So we will do the holiday, but that kind of boxed us out of like the British finals, or IBBF, the Mr. Cork show as well. Would be out of the country for that, so boxed us out of that. So like, if I hadn't have been going on holidays, absolutely would have done more shows in Ireland. But we'll see when we come back. I know I have one last show in Denmark.
I was say, it's actually put your Instagram up here as well, so Denise. But I've seen screen share. I always mess this bit up. I don't know. I'd seen there you have a show planned there in 6 weeks' time. So
I
obviously
do.
there is still plans to continue to compete. Where is that? Denmark, you said, as a pro.
We're gonna do Denmark, purely because I'm gonna like a spade is a spade. It's a tactical decision. So, I've earned my stripes in Ireland. I've done the international show, the big one with the Amateur Olympia. I've placed, I was competitive. I wasn't moved not once on that stage. So now we're just gonna go on to do Denmark. I think it's in 5 weeks,
Yeah.
and we are gonna go for that. It's the Battle of the North, so it should be a relatively small show, but it is a pro qualifier. So at this stage, we're like, this will be the last show. We'll bow out after this and go into an off season. So win or lose, it's off season after this, and I cannot wait for just to grow again because now I know how much I can actually grow. So it's exciting.
Well, this is it. Have you actually? I think I've seen it. Maybe it was on your story. Your like start point pictures.
Oh
To
God, I was tiny.
are they on this Denise? Because I would like to fit them
They're
up to
oh,
show.
they're way, way down. Like God, I was 46 kilos. I was a size four.
Talk us through
Um,
that journey a little bit, actually, from like I suppose because there's loads of questions like so like why I'm always like where are we trying to get us back? Why did it start? Like were you into bodybuilding? Were you into that scene? Like and then how did that come about that 48 kilo to where you're at now, say?
yeah, well, I suppose I was training from my house. So I didn't join a gym until after COVID. So I'd never set foot in a gym until after COVID. I was training in the house that I was living in with a previous partner. And it was, yeah, look, it wasn't the best relationship. I wasn't allowed to go to the gym, so I was training in the house. Um, it's it is what it is. I was bands and kettlebells and a bit of yoga, a bit of Pilates. It was just to try and kind of stay in shape. It was a little bit of a mental outlet for myself as well, but that just kind of progressed. Jesus, at that stage, I think my only aim was to grow a little bit of a bum. I had little twig legs. Every woman in my family have the skinniest legs and then just big upper bodies. So we're just like ostriches. We're just built that way. So growing legs was like the biggest challenge for me. Um, I continued on. I think once we moved out of that house, I remember it was COVID, and it was actually Paul Keating, the guy over Mr. Cork show. He hooked me up with a guy in Poland because gyms were closed and no one could get, all the barbells, all the plates, everything was sold out of every store. So he hooked me up with a guy in Poland who actually sent me over. I think it was like 100 kilo in bumper plates and, the bars and the benches and everything like that. So I was training from my dad's shed. So that was my first step of actually really training. And I think for like, Jesus, for a squat rack, we had like two hydraulic, gearbox stands.
And everybody's using the bins and the sofas were getting and put them together.
Yeah, yeah, and we welded ourselves a landmine, so like it was great. We just cut up some tubing and welded together and built ourselves a landmine. I still have the freaking landmine, but yeah, that was it. It just kind of kept going from there, and I started to kind of look, I suppose, a bit more on social media, and you're looking at these girls that are building themselves up, and coming from the background that I came from, where I was very much the weaker person, I never wanted to be that weak person again. And it was making myself mentally strong by training and everything like that. But physically strong, I wanted to feel physically strong. So I was eating like a woman possessed and I was training like a woman possessed. And it's just nothing was balancing out because I was probably training more than I was eating, and it was just nothing was changing. Like I was getting harder, but I wasn't growing, and it was so frustrating. But at that stage, I think I met Stephen, And he was living with Cathal McConnell at the time in Kilcullen, and they have what we used to call the prison yard, which was the oldest, rustiest, mankiest weights you will ever come across in your life. Like you'd need a tetanus to train out in that yard. And the two lads were always training out there. And it was just really, really nice to see kind of just the grafting that they were putting in, like the sheer abuse they were doing to themselves and loving every minute of it. And like I remember Carl had like this little bike that he had in this tiny little garden shed. It was like this sweat box. And they'd go in there to do their cardio and they'd come out and they'd be half dead. And then they'd just go back out and do more weights. And it was like, this is so hardcore. Like this is, I loved it.
That was something that you enjoyed, that hardcore.
Yeah, yeah. It was just like I always say it, and it's probably the most sadistic thing. Training hard is probably the safest form of self-harm you can do.
The
Like,
most the most readily accepted.
yeah, I'm like if you're really needing a release and you really are having a really crappy day, you go in and absolutely murder yourself in the gym under some weights. That's your release. Like you feel so much better. And kind of that's, I will leave my soul in the gym every time I go to the gym. And anyone that knows me will vouch for that. Like I don't go in pretty like some girls go in pretty. I might go in pretty. I don't come out pretty. But like I look like a sweaty foot in the corner, like dying at death. And I'm there to train. I'm there to just push myself as hard as I can. And it's that for me is just it. It's like I want to see how far I can go, how much I can push my body through, and how much I can kind of visually see change. It's just really exciting. It gets very addictive. But yeah, I love it. Like it's always been that kind of release for me and kind of escape for me is going to the gym. And I suppose then about 3 years back, maybe, we thought about competing and we trialed with Stephen coaching me.
You heard
Um, I, s-
Steve being, just for people that don't know, the brown panda
oh yeah, the brown panda.
on the
Yeah,
podcast as well. Obviously, he's very heavily involved. And you are together.
yeah, yeah. The big angry looking brown guy who's
Quite
he's
happy, I
actually
know. Very, very chirpy boy. Like he is. He is.
he always looks angry, but he's literally the softest touch ever. But he we tried with him coaching me at the start, and I suppose 3 years back in our relationship, we weren't as solid as we are now. So when he told me no, I didn't really like to be told no. So like if he told me I couldn't have food, I kind of didn't take it very well. And the result of that, the consequence of that on him, I suppose, wasn't really worthwhile.
Somebody else.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. He was just like, no, no, no. I want to sleep in my bed tonight. So I stepped away and actually went with Meg Sylvester for a little bit just to kind of get a different feel of another female who knew how to grow solid tissue. Worked with her for a couple of months. It wasn't really for me. It was just, I suppose, my life and her life are so different. Like I have kids, I have a job, I have everything else that pulls me a million and one different places at the same time. Whereas Meg is coaching, she is bodybuilding, she is that's her
I think it is
persona.
very much the same when it comes to that. It's like, this is the way. Fucking do
Yeah,
it that way.
yeah, yeah.
Not like, it's not possible for the majority of people to be able to do that. As much as you say, well, set everything aside for your goal, but you also have people that you're responsible for as well, you know?
That's it. Like, and I think in a way, like it didn't really work with Meg in that way. So we went our separate ways amicably, really amicably. Like I'd still talk to her. And I just went back with Stephen and we just nailed it from then on out. But prep, I think, for me was really easy. And I know that's everyone's probably hating me right now for saying that. But I think when you have kids, prep is easier. And I mean that as in the way of when you don't have kids and you don't have responsibilities, you need your meals to be at a certain time. Everything's timed to perfection. And if something interferes with that, like it mentally messes you up and you just can't deal with it.
I,
Whereas when you've got kids, it's like it could be 3 o'clock in the morning. Someone could have had a nosebleed, and I have to get up and change bed sheets and do the whole thing and put them back to bed. And then it could be 5 o'clock in the morning, and child number three could get up because, they fell out of bed or some God knows what crap. And then, like it could be back to 6 o'clock in the morning. You're like, I need to just go and train now. But you can't because someone has a stomach bug. So you learn to just kind of roll with it. So you'll have your meals, you'll have your stuff, but you learn to just kind of chill a little bit and be like, right, I will get the meals in. Fair enough, I didn't get the morning cardio in, but I'm going to get it in at such a time today. So it's just kind of rolling with the punches, I suppose, is a little bit easier. So when things change in prep really quickly, it's easier for me to accept because I've just done that for the last 13 years with kids. Like my day could change at the drop of a hat. So that inconsistency really, really helped when it came to prep and stuff changed. Or, if you had 3 days meals prepped and it's day one and you've done a check-in and now all your plans have changed and you're going, oh, my food is fucked,
That's a
but
really interesting take on things, to be honest. But it's actually a take I haven't really came across before,
mm,
probably because the majority of the guys and girls I have on here they really don't have those demands and stipulations on them. But
yeah.
anyone working with Nicky, but you obviously operating at high level as an IFBB Pro with two kids. Sometimes I'm going, this is madness. This is madness. As in, like, can we not just streamline it? But obviously that's not possible. But you're
It's literally not possible. It's organized chaos.
easy to change, still getting it all done. For me,
Yeah.
when I'm in that position, like you say, and maybe something that as an athlete and maybe as an online coach too, I could get better at, to be fair, is being able to be a little bit more, what would you say, flexible with things.
Yeah, it's just taking it as it goes. Like I see a lot of coaches who don't have kids, and it's not a knock against them. They're fantastic coaches, but they've just never experienced it themselves.
No,
The inconsistency and the instability of having kids.
yeah.
And they'll say to their clients who might have kids, and they'll be like, just get on with it. Get it done, get it done, get it done. And the clients are kind of going, how the fuck am I supposed to get it done? Like I have a child that's, after vomiting on my lap here. It's just
Yeah.
kind of like, you can't. And they've got their after school stuff. There's so much stuff that they need. But like it's having the mindset where you can step back and go, right, this is what has to be done. It might not get done in the order that it needs to get done, but it will get done. As long as the boxes get ticked, you're still getting it done. Fair enough, the OCD part of the order of it might not be the way you need it to be, but it'll still get done. Like I didn't skip a beat in prep. I didn't miss anything. Like the timing didn't line up. The meals mightn't have been exactly 3 hours apart, but everything got done.
I think that's the sign also of a really good coach, as well, has been able to like pivot and have empathy with people, even not in that same position. Because obviously I'm not, but with time
Mm,
and experience, it's learned that this like, it's not the same way for everybody. And I think
yeah,
that's like what I've seen with some coaches where they go wrong is like, or maybe they lose clients, or you see their top guys. So just I'm not going to use specific examples, but I've been there with coaches or seen them operate, and it's
yeah,
like top guys will be their top guys because they can dictate their whole life to it. But when it comes to and that's because their protocols are very solid. Everything they put out is very solid. But when it comes to actually managing the person, that's when they lose people. Because they
yeah.
can't, but they don't need to because they've already got show winners that's continuing to drive and build that business.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of the ones that don't fit into the template fully just kind of fall off the
Yeah.
edge a little bit. And I think it's a shame because there's people like me, like I don't fit into any coach's template. And my rookie season, I've smashed my first two shows, like with three kids in tow and a full-time job. Getting up at 4:30 in the morning to do stomach vacuums is the last thing any mother of three wants to do. But you did it. You get up at 4:30, you do your vacuums, you do your posing, you do, your little bit of routine, get your electrolytes into you, get all the pre stuff into you, head off to the gym, train like a mad woman on steam, and then go to work for 8 hours. And it's
Walking
like,
away just getting shit done.
yeah, yeah, it's just that's it. Like, and trust me, if you had said to me like this time last year that I would be getting up at 4:30 in the morning, I used to see people like getting up at 5:30 in the morning going, that's not morning, that's still nighttime. What's wrong with you?
There's a
But
few things I want to touch on as well, Denise, but I'm going to pivot between the two of them. So, like,
yeah,
a few of them. So, like, what is your dynamic like with Steve now? Obviously, like, coach relationship. How does that work for you? How do you make it work for you?
I suppose It's a hard one. It's very, at the start, it was very much coach client. So
Mhm.
we kind of went in hard coach client, and it's almost like the relationship kind of took a back step because every time he was looking at me, he was looking at me from a coach's perspective.
I can see that.
Yeah. So like I'd be, and every time I was doing something for the kids, I'd be making the kids food, which by the way is fucking hard when you're in prep and you're making lasagna for your kids. That's hard. That's discipline. Okay, that's the goat of discipline is making all those nice things for kids and going, I can't even taste test this. But I'd be making food for the kids and I could feel Stephen's eyes burning into the back of my head to see am I going to taste any of it? And I'm like, I'm not tasting it. I'm being good. But it's yeah, it was like it's good. We kind of hit that kind of roadblock where we realized we were very much coach client and we were distancing for ourselves from the relationship side of things. So we sat down like Stephen is he will talk the hind legs off a donkey just like I will. So when the two of us sit down, it's a long one.
Yeah.
But we talked, talking about what we needed and to do to change things because obviously not that the relationship was struggling, but it was becoming an oversight.
Lose part of it, maybe, of what it
Yeah.
is really.
And it's being so focused. And then again, I had that kind of I'd do a check-in and he'd give me really good feedback. And I'd go, are you just saying that because you're my boyfriend? Are you just saying that to make me feel better? Or are you saying it as a coach? And he'd be like, no, 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 I'm saying it as a coach. Like, if you look shit, I'm going to tell you you look shit. I'm like, Jesus. But no, it's good. Like, we have a really nice balance. We'll still spend time outside of where the phones are left aside, and bodybuilding is like stuck in a pin. We put a pin in it and we don't discuss it, and we just have our time because it's so, so important, especially when you're doing anything like this and you're so focused on something. It's very easy, especially with kids in the mix, to become almost like housemates.
Mm.
Like you have your function, I have my function, and this is the kids are all here and the coaching is all here. And it's where do you fit in the relationship part? So, like that again is why we're doing the holiday as well, because I was like, I've been doing this prep. I've been neglecting Stephen, for want of a better word. I've been neglecting the kids, not so much neglecting, but I haven't been mentally available. So we'll do 10 nights in Egypt, and that's kind of my way of just hitting the reset button and just being like, okay, we're human again. We'll go back to being a family, go back to having a relationship, and just bring it all back home and start again. So it's good and bad having your coach with you.
Yes, you make it work, and it's obviously you have because you've seen your relationship together. I've seen it sort of firsthand and thought, that's very very nice. That's very good. But obviously the result on stage is also very good. So I'm sure like anything, you'll evolve and that dynamic will kind of get stronger, and you'll be able to you'll any faults that come across you'll be able to sort of work with as well.
Oh
Like
yeah, like don't get me wrong, it's so so handy having your coach living with you, as in you know yourself if you check in and you check in on a Friday, you get your feedback, but then come Tuesday, come Wednesday, you feel off. You
yeah,
don't get to check in till the next Friday. I don't have that problem. Like I can't tell you the amount of times my plans have changed just on a day-to-day
yeah,
basis.
yeah.
And that's the luxury I have of living with Stephen because if he sees something in me, he'll just change it there and then. Or if I'm really like it could on a Wednesday, I could have absolutely mentally hit a wall and I'm fatigued and I'm inflamed. And he'll just be like, right, no cardio, no steps, and throw a big bowl of oats into me, and that's it. I'm back to life again.
Think you both clearly love bodybuilding, and you just have that like I know Steve in terms of like the passion he has for it, even just
Oh,
and you're like
yes.
it's quite infectious, really. Uh, I see similarities from self growing in that as well. And it's just trying to find the point of like balance with it, as well. It's like where does that stop? Where does bodybuilding stop, and other elements of life kind of come into it?
Yeah, I think it's not so much that bodybuilding has to stop. It's almost like I fit bodybuilding into my life.
Yeah,
So my life still goes on. I still do what I need to do. I still work. We still, plan nights away. We still plan different things like that. And bodybuilding fits into it. And again, that's a dynamic we're able to have because we're used to having stuff change. So sporadically, and it just, we can roll with it, we can change it. Like today, for example, we're going to drive to Belfast just to look at a bikini. And if I said that to someone who was 4 weeks out from a show, do you want to drive to Belfast? They'd be like, no, I have to do meals and I have to do this. And I'd be like, God, no. It would be mentally painful for them. Whereas like Stephen's like, yeah, come on, let's pile the kids into the car, we'll do a road trip.
Very good. We have to start off and learn. So you should have done the podcast live today. Yeah. So like obviously this is like you're going on holiday for 10 days. You've got a show in what 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Where does that leave you? Like what does that process look like now? Obviously, got lean, you're in condition for the show, really. It's a matter of just kind of holding there or thereabouts to be able to push on. How do
Um,
you
to be honest, so the off the record feedback that I kind of got from Milan was I was the hardest one on stage, and that's not what they wanted.
let me pull them up again actually because I did see them. I thought I was looking at it going, but you look good here, like, in terms of
Yeah, yeah.
see.
So that was, it was very much off the record. It was
Yeah,
very much just kind of in chats. Um, so that was kind of the feedback I got was you were the hardest and most conditioned on stage. The others were that little bit softer with more fuller muscle. And that's not what they wanted. So they want, when you're doing an amateur show, they wanted you to have the high end of an amateur physique, but that the kind of the goal is that you can come away, go into an off season, and then go back into a pro show.
right. So it's more of a they just need a bit more. They're saying muscle tissue, really.
So what they said was just to come in softer. So they said literally don't change anything, just come in softer. So if you see there in my latest post, I have come in, I have a little bit softer, quite a bit softer. We've gone into more of an aggressive load to kind of bring fullness. We'll continue to do that for another 2 weeks, and then we'll start to kind of dig it in again.
Can I ask, like, as an athlete, how does that sit with you in terms of like the softening up for a show? Obviously, because you're competitive and you're a competitor. I'm sure it's like, right, I'll do what I need to win. But as an athlete,
Yeah.
that's so driven to just fucking push. Because you can tell the mentality of it. Does it sit well with you that going, I'm going to come in softer here? If it's like,
No, it's it's definitely it's something I'm still trying to wrap my head around. So like as I'm like pinching the skin on my stomach, and there's a little more than just skin now, and I'm kind of going ah,
yeah, yeah.
but it's definitely something to have. It's hard to wrap your head around that you need to be softer, and it's so quick after the show. Like I'm a week post show, and I'm up like I think 4 kilos, and it's like, oh, we have to go up another bit, and we have to push another bit. Now, don't get me wrong, my training has gone through the roof. My strength is back to what it was before
Fucking
prep.
doesn't it that like when it's back in there?
Oh, I loved it. I was in the gym, and you could have left me in that gym for the whole day yesterday, and I wouldn't have budged. I was so bloody happy. But like I was like 3 plates aside squat, and I was like, give it, let's go. But no, it's the softness is, it's not too bad. Like I think if I have to get much softer than this, I'll probably get a little bit mentally derailed. But no, like knowing that I have to do this for 2 more weeks, and then it'll be 2 weeks of proper digging again just to be that bit conditioned. Like bearing in mind that was me super, super hard and super, super lean in Milan the night before to try and give myself that little bit more pump. I had two double bacon cheeseburgers. I had two large fries. I had four donuts. I plied myself with carbs. And even on the day of it, like we were trying to really pump ourselves up because we saw what the girls looked like, and we were like, right, they're full, they're not hard. So yeah, that was everything was thrown at that to try and get a little bit more of a pump. But we'll just go now for Denmark and be that little bit more rounder, a little bit more kind of, fuller muscle bellies.
Looks well filled out, especially in the top half of the legs. Like, I mean, the quads are something that just were, when I seen you at PCA, I was like, fuck, they're a standout. Like they're like Chris Hoy's legs.
That's like, honest to God, see, you liked my quads and I wanted your glutes. I was like, he has the glutes. And I remember saying it to your mom backstage. She's like, it hasn't he? Your glutes are great. I'm like, stop, your son's glutes. I need his glutes.
That must be genetic. I don't look at my man's arse like, but maybe that's where I got it from.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know, but your glutes are just fucking savage. But yeah, my legs now are definitely my party piece. I need to bring up the hamstrings, but the quads, it's just been for me mentally knowing that I always had skinny, skinny legs. And I think I just kill my legs. I just go so hard on my legs, and I probably shouldn't. They probably grow more if I actually gave them a chance more.
So hard to know as well, because if somebody had a gun to your head and say 6 months to bring these legs up, you would go, you would that's not necessarily the right tactic, but you'd go at them. Listen, it's obviously worked.
Yeah.
This is your first season. And you've
I
like,
know, I
you know,
know.
like,
It still
you know,
hasn't hit me. I'm like, I don't like vanity in that stage to kind of go like, oh yeah, I'm a champ. And I've seen girls do that and I hate that. Like there's a very, very thin line between confident and cocky.
that is a big thing. You know, like you want like the conversations I have with my own athletes and probably have with myself at points as well, is like there's an element of self-doubt that drives you as an athlete
Yeah.
or like that's in my business. It's like it drives you to be better. But at the same time, this constant like I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. I think it also takes away from the mentality of, I am a champion. And that
I
was
think that's so, so important. Like, I put it into perspective. I came from pretty bad relationship where I spent 16 years of my life being told I wasn't good enough. So being told I was useless, being told I wasn't good enough, I was never going to amount to anything. Now, that when you are told something enough times, that conditions you to actually believe it. The same thing goes for if you're telling yourself, like the voice that you hear in your head all day long, every time you're talking to yourself, that's your own voice. If you're telling yourself, oh, you look shit, oh, your legs aren't great today, oh, you're not going to be good enough, you're not going to be as good as that guy, you're conditioning yourself to actually believe that. And that's going to action on it. And then you won't be good enough and your legs will be shit. So for me, getting out of that 16 years of being told that for so long, that's kind of why I have a point to prove that I will be good enough and I am good enough and I will make myself good enough. And that's all I keep telling myself is you will do it. It's going to happen. You're going to do it. Because if I start feeding back into, no, you're not going to be big enough for those girls.
it's easy to let that bad side of your brain just kick
Yeah,
and tell you that, and you need to override that. But the fact that you realize that you do that, to me, is
yeah.
a big thing because people don't, and then it's just this constant slide down the way, you know.
But like we're bodybuilders, like every bodybuilder will know this. You'll look in the mirror and people will go, oh, you look deadly. And you'll look in the mirror and all you look for is things that are flawed. You just look for things that are flawed. And it's for some, it's kind of you're looking for them as ways to improve and it's a positive. But for some are actually just looking at them going, that's shit, that's shit, that's shit. Oh crap. And then that's their mood set for the whole day. And your body responds to that.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, worry drilled into me because there was a bit of a confidence issue coming out of this year for me going into a prep, and it was like every night you're waking fucking sleep's terrible, like 2:30 in the morning.
Oh,
Every night you wake up for a piss or you can't get back to sleep, you need to know to yourself, I am a champion. I am a champion. And see when he
yeah.
said, I thought, that's so corny, mate. Like, right?
No, honestly,
Started
like,
doing that and I started having this element of self-belief. But as you say, there's a fact that you have to keep the ego in check too. I think no matter how high up you climb, that element of humbleness, it carries you a long way too.
absolutely. Like I have nothing but the utmost respect for everyone who steps on a stage, whether they win or lose. Like everyone has put their heart and soul into getting onto a stage. And it's a big, big thing. It's a big, big journey. Everyone's doing it for their own reasons. And I'll be the first person, like, if I know who I'm competing against on the stage, guaranteed I'm messaging them and I'm chatting to them backstage because I want them to look their best. I want them to feel their best. You don't want to step on a stage with a load of like crappy physiques and go, "Oh, I won."
Yeah.
But like, did you?
What,
Like,
what type of athlete are you backstage? Are you the one that wants to talk or feels more comfortable, wants to talk to everybody? Or do you
yeah.
take
I
yourself?
talk to everyone. Like I talk to everyone. It's terrible. And people probably are like, "Oh, Jesus, here she comes
Jesus
again."
Christ.
But like I'm buzzing and I'm so happy. And I remember even like we'd be pumping up and I'd be chatting away to like I
Yeah.
think it was muscle contest. There was bikini girls pumping up with us backstage because it was so late. And we'd all run out of like our pump product and we'd all run out of jellies. And like Stephen was on a hunt for some jellies so we could get a bit of a pump. And I was chatting away to the girls and I'm holding on to Stephen doing kickbacks. And he's like, can you just stop talking to everyone and focus? He's like, there's a job to do. I'm like,
For me,
yeah,
though, that makes me feel very comfortable. Talking to other athletes, if I'm sitting and I take myself away, sometimes then the thoughts creep in. Like there's a level,
yeah,
you can still have the element of focus, but I feel like trying to be whatever you do to make you feel actually comfortable in yourself before you go on stage, because it can quite a you can make it a very intimidating environment in a very dark place where it doesn't
Yeah.
certainly I don't think it needs to be. You know, there's a
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, there is some girls that are like that. Like, I remember at the PCA, there was one girl who was meant to be doing it, and I messaged and I was like, hey, we're going to be sharing the stage together. And she just messaged me back and she went, don't message me again. I will see you on stage. I was like, okay, thanks.
yeah, got the vibe too. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what I want to do, like, I want to talk a little bit about the sort of intricacies of it, I suppose, to some degree. So first of all, like, why wellness? And then, like, there's a lot of girls very interested in this. Like, what does your train? I'm interested in if it's going to grow my quads. What's training setup look like for you? You know, how does that split out for us the week? Because obviously, there's a huge emphasis on glute, leg, hamstring development.
My training split.
Yeah.
I suppose, okay, so why wellness? Um, I've always been skinny. So not that, like, look, bikini is a really, really good division. It's just oversaturated. And for me, bikini, it warrants muscle, but for someone who has been skinny and battling being skinny for a long, long time, I just love the power that wellness looks. It's very feminine, but you've big legs. And for someone who never had big legs, I wanted big legs, but like I didn't want figure because I've always had a bigger upper. So I always went for the division where I wanted the
Yeah.
bigger legs and the bigger bum. And it's a beautiful physique, it's a beautiful silhouette. It still has a very feminine aspect to it. And when it's done right, it can look very healthy and very beautiful. When it's done wrong, which it did kind of veer off for a bit there and go to these girls coming with tanks of legs, like tree trunk legs, and it took from it. It was more kind of bodybuilding-esque. But that was wellness for me. It was just I loved the look. Training split, God. I have Monday is quads and calves. Tuesday is glutes. Wednesday is rest. Thursday is hams and glutes. Friday is quads and calves.
Wow.
And Saturday is something else. It's probably glutes as well, but it's changed so many times. But I have 4 leg days.
That was all
And
the equation.
yeah, there's always legs. There's always legs in the equation. And then there's one or two solid glute days. But like I've 2 rest days. At the moment now, it's kind of my training days have changed because the kids have different things on. So I'm going week on week. I literally book in my calendar what days I'm training, and like my rest day is tomorrow now. So I'm training today where I wouldn't normally train on a Sunday, but I'm training hams and glutes today. So I'm looking forward to that.
You're up body training in there.
Sorry.
Or is there any upper body training in that?
So upper body used to be on a Tuesday, and then I was told to stop growing my upper body. It was responding too fast, and I was told to
That's
leave
it.
it alone. And like my upper body, like I'll do anything, and like my upper body just freaking grows. It's like moving the plates, my upper body grows. But now we're at a position where after seeing in Milan the uppers on some of those girls, I know I can grow my upper more. I'm allowed to now. So I'm just disregarding the feedback I had before and going, we're growing it. So as it stands right now, I just do 2 upper exercises at the end of every day.
Right. Yeah.
So if I'm doing quads and calves, I'll do 2 upper. I might do, like lat raises and bicep curls at the end of that. And the same every day, I'll just do 2. So it's not going ham on upper, but it's still not neglecting it. So I can still get some growth.
It's giving it some volume because it can do. I think when you see the girls at the top level there that you're going towards, they're still their upper body, especially like through their delts and stuff, are still fairly
Yeah.
well. Just not overdoing it. And obviously there's enough legs. There's a lot of quad work good in there as well, and like lower body work. It's interesting to hear that as well, about how little time is spent towards upper body, and yet you look at your upper body and go, that's a pretty good upper body style, you know?
Yeah, like honestly, my upper just responds so, so quick. Like if I was doing, this is why if I was doing figure, I'd probably do fine because I could just grow my upper like a weed. But it's wellness that I want. Um, I don't know, upper just, it's like I'll do 2 exercises and I'll be jacked. Like there'll be veins popping out and everything, and I'm just kind of going, I don't know why this is happening.
Does it annoy
But
you a little bit with the, the genetic card that people say? Does it mean, because obviously as an element of genetics, there's genetics in everything that we do,
Yeah.
especially as an athlete. But I know that I've seen it kind of a couple of posts about it's not just genetics, but does that ever just annoy you a little bit knowing the work that you have put in?
Yeah, like I will have the amount of people who have asked me, "Are you Irish?" And I'd say, "Yeah, I'm Irish." And they go, "But are you really?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "But you don't have Irish genetics like for your legs and glutes to be like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Irish, but are your parents or your grandparents somewhere down the line there has to be something." And that's like they're picking for this answer that, "Oh, that's why." And
Yeah, for their own validation, probably to some
I'm
degree.
like, "No, I'm actually just so mentally damaged that I go into the gym and kill myself in the gym. And I go home and I eat a bowl load of carbs."
Yeah. I mean, I could see how that could play a bit of an annoyance on you as well. But you're gonna accept your blessings for wherever they are, and it's like it's the thing. In the day, you're not going to change them. There's the same level of effort that we're all applying, and then
Oh
where
yeah.
it goes. Or if it's not working, maybe not putting it down to genetics, because like I know for
Yeah.
myself, I'd have went to myself, oh, I don't have great genetics, and then you do it for 5 years, and you're like, maybe they're not actually that
Maybe I
bad.
do.
Maybe it's just the time spent, because not to talk about myself, 'cause it's not about me, this podcast, but like, I looked at it, when I started, say, it would have been 5 years ago now,
Mm.
158 pound, and I went, oh, my genetics are shit. Well, you trained for a year, like, nah, do you know what I mean? Looking back at it now, and then you sort of see that physique development, and every year there's 10 to 15 pound of tissue going on. You're going, actually, most people aren't doing this, albeit they're not.
No, but that's the thing is you put on a tremendous amount of tissue year on year. Like you put on a lot compared to what other people would be kind of going, well, how's he putting on that much?
And then you can go, well, is it a genetic component, or is it actually just that process has just been nailed very
Yeah.
consistently and
You're
did
just
it?
ticking the boxes. Like this is it. Like tick the bloody boxes. And you'll have people that'll go and go, I'm ticking the boxes, I'm going and training, and then you'll see how they train. Like you're not supposed to be able to be chatting to someone when you're training. Like
The difference
if
between ticking the boxes and smashing them with a hammer.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
I,
We're
I hate
sledgehammering those.
I hate the phrase tick the boxes because it sounds like we're just getting it done. And most people are just getting it done. But I
Yeah,
know you're up at 4:30 in the morning after a night up with the kids and stuff. You're not ticking the box when it goes to train legs. You're going to try and dismantle them things from the.
absolutely. And then I'm pissed off because I didn't get sleep, so I'm using that as ammunition to train legs as well, like fucking kids.
Channel the demons, man.
Bloody gremlins.
I want to I want to hear that your thing, how your sort of thoughts on the Irish bodybuilding scene in general. It's something I always ask on the podcast because I find it interesting. People that are in and about the mix, like in terms of like the amount of shows, the amount of athletes, the level. Like, what's your kind of overall view on it?
I would love to see more shows. I think Muscle Contest, bringing in the regionals, has put in, two shows that are definitely going to be busy, busy shows. I'd like to see more shows. I think I'd like to see more kind of marketing around the shows. Like, so a lot of the shows, it'll just be like it's a couple of weeks out, and next thing they'll pop up on Instagram, and you're going, well, shit, no, who's going to do that? Like, there just seems to be there needs to be more of a hype around the shows.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of good athletes, a lot of budding athletes. There's a lot of people who are jumping into things they shouldn't jump into because, they want to put it on their Instagram and stuff like that. And, they think they're ready and they're not ready. And to those people, I would say, wait. Like, just, I waited 2 years. I was really raring to go last year and I didn't. And I put out for another year of solid graft and it paid off in spades for me. But there's so much opportunity for more shows. It's just we need to get more backing. Like Irish bodybuilding, it did have a really bad name, Irish bodybuilders in general, for begrudging and being very bitter.
yeah.
And there was no camaraderie, there was no community feel. It was like, oh yeah, bodybuilding Ireland. No, it wasn't. Like it was like this odd animosity between everyone. And I think that's really kind of been flipped over the past year, I'd say, especially only in the past couple of months. I'm seeing it really, really gaining momentum. Like people are talking to people, people are being more supportive. It's really becoming a really good community, a really good place to be. Stuff like this podcast, even, bringing, shining light on stuff like that, where people will listen to it and they feel part of something. But it's that's kind of what Irish bodybuilding was missing. Like when you look at even in some parts of the UK, but even like when I look at some of the girls that message me who are in France and Italy, even in America, they're so supportive of each other. Like it's one big family. They're just such a strong community, and having that in Ireland, we're kind of headed that way now, which is really, really nice to see. It's just really refreshing, and I think the more we can kind of push for that, and the more kind of awareness we can bring to the fact that we are a strong enough country for bodybuilders. We do have the potential, as you said, to have a couple of new pros, be it by the end of this year, and definitely for next year, we're going to have a few pros. Hopefully, I will be one of them. But it's yeah, like there's so much room for growth there, and to have more shows and more kind of focus on the shows, and just I suppose even the way the shows are run, that would be nice to see some changes there, a little bit more for the athlete. It's I suppose you can't really kind of have a show that's going to run ticky box, exactly as planned, which is fine. But I think you go to different bigger shows and you see the level of that they give to the athletes. And I know not everyone has the budget to like line up loads of like treats and drinks and food and stuff for the athletes, but it's nice to kind of feel appreciated. Like you're giving a lot of money to do shows, you're paying a lot, especially for women. Like you're talking €300 just for tan hair and makeup. And that's like not even before you pay for your bikini or your heels or your ticket, your registration. It's a lot of money to be put in for 15 to 30 seconds on a stage. There should be something a little bit more towards the athlete in the shows, but I think there's a lot that can be changed and a lot will change. But I think it's really positive.
I agree. I think like when I come back here, I'd sort of come back from Newcastle after a decade there in the Northeast, in which we were to
Oh
kind of
wow.
real rich like bodybuilding, old school history of it. And I come back and I thought, wow, this place is just it's so separate. I thought like there was no like massive, from what I seen, no massive interaction between the coaches. There was no fraternity in which that I valued so much over there, and I was really only getting into the thing there. So like
Yeah.
that was one of my big goals, really. Away from my own coaching, was to try and build something, create something. And even at that, at the start, I'll be honest, I got a lot of like negative feedback. And who's this guy?
Yeah, yeah. Who's he
I
think
wanted to
he
do that.
is?
But like at the end of the day, you have to try and carry that mantle. So like that was my big thing with starting the podcast, was one, because it would lead to exposure and allow like different people, different groups to kind of interact and then start to build something from there. Like my big thing was now to go, right, how we get some sort of like convention style seminar that I talked about that I'm planning on doing really at the back end of this year, probably more likely next year, where we get a lot of athletes together, do a live podcast, do a live training, like get a training session, get a like and make it actually something. Like we used to have an exhibition up this way, like almost like a body part style thing. It
Oh
takes
yeah.
and it takes people to pull behind that. That's what I will say. And then even with the PCA, it was a big one for like, why are we not getting reads up? I've offered myself to the PCA for Galway to do interviews and get client, track the athlete interviews out there that they do in the
Yeah.
main, like, and promote the shows better, because
Oh,
it's
that'd be deadly.
it's still met with like, you're like, guys, like I'm literally going to do it for free, and it gives the athletes, and then people see it and then they want to try it or want to come.
Exactly. It just sheds more light on it, so there's more focus. If people see it as something that's not just kind of hidden down a dark alleyway somewhere,
Yeah,
like if they see it as the new norm and that it's being embraced, more and more people are going to want to do it.
even the video, I had a videographer me at the first PCA I was over with, and the PCA didn't have anybody filming. I'd said, well, take mine and do it, because like there's no promo. So more shows is great, but even within the shows themselves, like I would love to see more shows, but it's getting athletes into the shows. Like I was standing
Yeah.
in a class in Ireland with Miss myself, albeit the overall was great, but there's not enough people doing it, and I wouldn't say that's necessarily the athlete's fault. It's there's not enough promotion behind it. There's not enough push behind
Yeah.
it. And another thing I'd like to do really is like I'd love to put on a show and actually make it a bit more for the athlete. That is a plan. I have like a venue and that lined up,
Oh
but
wow.
it needs people to come and support it and be like,
Yeah.
right, Mr. Ireland or Mr. and Miss Ireland, and actually have, away from the federations themselves, have something to go, right, this is, because NABA back in the day in Northern Ireland,
Yeah.
everybody, that was the show everybody talked about. And albeit it was a bit,
Everyone loved that. Was NABA was like the thing. That was it. Like it was just the pinnacle. Like go for it.
so if we had support and people around that, I believe that could be a success, but it would need to be at the right time, the right backing, but like a bit of promotion behind it, more for the athletes, get your videos, get your interviews, make it something that everybody can really be a part of. But yeah, that's my take on it, because more shows I love the idea of, but at the minute there's still not supported enough there.
Yeah.
I think that comes directly back to the promotion of it.
Yeah. No, I think just kind of having more promotion and fixing the ones that we have.
Yeah.
And building on that, I think, is probably the best choice. I think you're right there. Like, it's just the ones that we have, yes, they're good. Yes, they're still warranted to keep going, but there is a lot that needs to change. There is a lot that needs to be done in it. And the budget is there for most of them to do
Yeah.
more,
That's it.
but it's just kind of giving them that bit more of a push. Like, it make it more in the athlete's interest that they want to do it, because it's so, like, even if you look at muscle contest, it's so expensive to do it. It is expensive. It is the kind of the gateway to where you want to go if you want to be an NPC. But again, there's little changes that could be made there. It's PCA as well. Like, it's we'll see. I don't know how RIBBF now is going to fare now in the Mr. Cork show. I'm not too sure what the kind of lineup is for that. I know he is hunting for it, but again, the promotion just needs to start really early on. Stuff like that. If you can, are they going to let you go to Galway to do the interviews?
I've asked them and they said like they were like, yeah, sounds really good. I'll get back to you, and I'm still waiting to hear. And the thing is, like, I'm offering my own time and not like I'm not the money or anything. Like, not necessarily getting any exposure for doing that myself. I'll be there anyway. But it's something obviously I
Yeah.
love being part of this, and it's like the show thing to me seems like a really like it seems like a goer. Like I know NABA offer £100 per class win. That's not a lot, but it's enough to go. I appreciate you as an athlete. You paid in
Yeah.
60 quid to enter this. As a
Yeah.
okay, let's get some money back because it'll it pays for your Apple show meal.
Yeah.
Like make sure the music's right. Give like stick a few pizzas backstage for afterwards. Like all those little things. They do
Yeah.
that. Have water set and have make it something for the athlete where we can go and all come together and go right. We're going to put the best Irish athletes on an Irish stage. Like
Yeah.
that's exciting, really exciting. Very
Yeah, like that's it. Like, I know for the British finals, like it's a good lineup, but again, that's the British finals.
yeah,
Like, if we could have something like that, like, Jesus, I think for the regionals, for the last regionals before that, wasn't there like 17 super heavies or something?
yeah, yeah.
Like, Jesus, like, could you imagine if we could get something like that in Ireland? And it's just, they hammer it into you, like, from early on, they hammer it in. There's so much hype around these shows, and we just need that hype around ours. You should just rock up to Galway and just do the
Put
interviews.
your shirt on and go right.
You're like, I'm here, it's happening.
So I asked the plan guard, we'll get you guest posting when you get your pro card next year, then shall we? Or this year, right on this year, sorry. The
Hopefully this year, hopefully Denmark will be the one. If not, we'll go into an off season, but we're hoping it's a tactical decision to go into it, that it's not going to be too heavy of a show. Like, who wants to go to Denmark in the middle of November? It's bloody freezing.
photos there though, like super sharp, like the shape, everything's there, as you say, probably filled out a little bit. I'd look at that physique and go, here, that it's hard because I look at that physique and go, that's the physique I like because I value that. Like, the effort that's what. No, there's
Yeah,
no effort in eating up, but the effort to come down, like that's that's
yeah,
a like going. So it's there or thereabouts, and the fact there's eyes on you now, there's exposure, you're putting yourself out there, and you're doing multiple shows, and you're traveling, and you've done
yeah.
your other shows. So no one can say here you're not doing Ireland because people love to
But
say that.
that's it exactly. No one can say that I didn't pull my weight in Ireland, like, because I've done Ireland. I have like the trophies and the swords and all of that stuff to prove it. Still trying to get that to sink in as well, that I have two overalls done in my first two shows, and I have a medal that says Olympia. And I'm
Mad.
like,
And that'll take time, but I think it's like taking time after it, as you said, to go, whoa, because I
yeah,
know straight back in the off season. I was like, I need to book a holiday here to let this my achievement is not anywhere near the same degree of yours actually kind of sink in to some point and go like, right, okay, take this in a minute. Otherwise, I'll be past you and it'll be on to the next thing.
that's it. Yeah, and it's just another moment that's just forgotten. So I look back and it's like, it's, yes, I did that. That's brilliant. Go me, like, go me. Yes, I'm gonna have that moment where I can have and say go me, because it was freaking hard. Especially like my age with kids, job and stuff like that. I was like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Like, there's nothing to stop anyone apart from, just determination and actual discipline. um, and like, don't get me wrong, like, I didn't live like a bloody monk for the whole time either. I still had a life, but it's nice. And right now I'm just enjoying that I have more food. I have more food and I get to get a little bit softer, which I might not enjoy that part, but
Yeah, keep affirming that one. No, a great example. A great example, of what can be done as well when you actually stick your mind to it. And like I taken some from that as well in terms of like maybe not because the OCD, like in any bodybuilder, it's learning
yeah,
to maybe it's okay. It's getting done. We're still smashing the boxes too. That's the
yeah. But that's it. Like, there's so many people that think, okay, I missed, like I've had meal one at, 6 o'clock in the morning. I need to have meal two at 9, but I didn't get to have it until half 9. So now there's a half hour where my body was eating its own muscle, and you're going, calm, like, just eat your food and calm down, because you stressing over it is actually going to have a worse impact of that half hour late of food. So like, it's which is worse, missing a meal for half an hour or raising your cortisol levels through the roof, freaking out over it.
Denise, I'm always very wary of it. Kind of keep it to an hour, for people's own like listening interest as well. Although it's one
Yep.
of them could probably sit here a little bit one night and talk away, but I would like to end it with something a little bit deeper. So, what does bodybuilding mean to you? What's it given you?
Um, I suppose a sense of, I don't want to say purpose because that makes me sound like a shit mother. But it's almost like a sense of like belonging.
Mhm.
So I've found something that makes me feel good, makes me look good, but I'm part of something bigger. So it's you're part of a community, you're part of people who might look up to you, people who you look up to. Like, I always try and say to people to surround yourself by people who you aspire to be, instead of surrounding yourself by people who are like, just those mates, because what you surround yourself by or with is what you'll end up becoming. So it's bodybuilding for me is I want to kind of keep pushing up to the top as far as I can go. It is just gives me that sense of something to be and something to thrive, like, to strive for. But it's a community that I kind of didn't really feel like I belonged in, even though I was kind of doing it. But once I did the shows and earned my stripes, I think people have been a lot more welcoming of me. They're kind of seeing me on their level now, which is nice. It's really, really rewarding for me, because now I feel like a bodybuilder instead of feeling like I was like this imposter. But yeah, I think it's really, really rewarding for me to kind of be part of a bigger thing, of something that's growing in Ireland, and watch it grow and watch myself grow, and just kind of be supporting everyone else around me at the same time.
Yeah, you're a great example, and I think that's like you've definitely solidified yourself as that this year. Like, there's an element of earning your stripes within this, and at the end of the day, nothing's given to you. It's you have to earn the right to be respected. I think
Yeah,
it's not just a given thing that okay, respect you as a person, but as an athlete, earn the right to do so. And you've
yeah.
definitely done that this year, and you'll continue to do that and lead from the front, I think, within that division too over here. So, listen, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. We'll definitely, obviously, we'll catch up anyways, get some training done maybe at some point, do one of your fucking 10 quad sessions a week.
We'll go and do a leg day, a leg day. That'll be it.
And we'll get you on again when you get that pro card for sure, because I believe that's very much coming. Denise, if people want to find you, where can they do so?
Just Instagram, Denise Malone 01.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't have the mental capacity to go on any other social media
You'll be
channels.
on YouTube now. You'll be on YouTube.
No, feck off. We'll see. We'll see. If I get a pro card, we'll go on YouTube.
This is your first exposure to it now, anyway. Sure, your face is
Yeah.
on the YouTube channel. But guys, listen. Hopefully, I thought it was a really great episode. I think it's something you could sit and watch and listen and actually take a lot from. So please do go follow Denise and I've watch her journey over the course of the next month and year, because I'm sure it's only going to be an upward trajectory as well. Obviously, watch the podcast. Please subscribe to the channel. There's I've got 3 different bits of content going out every single week now, and the goal is to really push this Irish bodybuilding, as I say, get a little bit more involved, and there's big things to come, I believe, next year with it as well. So tag it up in your Instagram stories too. Always gets a bit of a following, and obviously follow myself over at Neil Rennie Coaching as well if you're looking at coaching or just a little bit of crack and a bit of education along the way, guys. But thank you for tuning in, and Denise, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks a million.